Hi, I'm Jules. This is a video about the states and stages of spiritual development. There are a lot of different ways that the states and stages of spiritual development can be uh, counted, like the numbers of stages. Um, they can have different names. They can be described very different ways. Um, for this video, I'm going to use Ken Wilber's 5 states / stages. I think 5 is a good number because it's not too many to where it gets confusing and overwhelming, and it's not too few where you start to miss out on some important pieces, I think. I also like Ken Wilber's names for those stages. I think they're very apt, but I don't completely agree with his characterizations of each of the stages. So this video is going to be my take on these states / stages. If you want Ken Wilber's take, I'm going to put a link in the description below for a book of his that's very good at describing his system. So I think without further ado, I'm going to switch to a drawing app so I can draw pictures and write stuff. Okay, so here we are in the drawing app. I'm going to start with gross state, which is physical reality. Actually, I'm just going to say phys for physical. There we go. So when you are in the gross state, you have a certain, when you're in any state, actually, you have a certain perception of reality. And you also have a certain perception of yourself. In gross states, let's take the example of a tree. I'm going to draw a happy little tree. There's a tree. So yeah, in physical reality, when you encounter anything, including a tree, what you're experiencing of the tree is its physical presence. You can touch the tree, you can see the tree. If you're close enough, you can smell the tree. The physical presence of the tree is what you're experiencing in physical state. Yeah, I kind of use gross and physical interchangeably. It's the same thing. Your experience of yourself in physical state, gross state, is your body. So you have a head, you have a torso, you have legs, you have arms. In the next state, so this is subtle state. This is still manifested reality for the most part that we're talking about here, but it is non-physical. It's everything in manifested reality that is non-physical. So this includes thoughts, emotions, dreams. It also includes all of your inner senses, if you are aware of your inner senses. So if you're, for example, seeing auras or sensing energy, all of this is subtle state. So talking about the tree, in subtle state, if you have inner senses, then, or I should say, if you're aware of your inner senses, I think everybody has inner senses, just may or may not be aware of them, and to varying degrees. So I'm gonna attempt to draw a spirit of a tree. So same tree, but here's how it might look to someone in with their like inner sight. So this is the subtle state version of the tree. In subtle state, this is what you are experiencing of the tree. The physical tree doesn't disappear. It's still there. But you, in subtle state, you are aware of this other aspect of the tree, which is the essence, the soul of the tree, the spirit of the tree. You could also be aware of other things around the tree that are non-corporeal, like maybe there's a dryad associated with the tree, and in subtle state you see the dryad with your inner sight. Both of these states include lots and lots of different phenomena. So these are just, I'm just giving examples here. And your experience of yourself in subtle state is, there are various aspects to yourself in subtle states. It's basically all of the aspects of yourself that are in manifested reality, so that's this lifetime, that are not physical. So that includes your own subtle body. I'll go ahead and, I think this is what people are referring to when they say astral body. It's the form that you are when you leave your body. So if you're astral projecting, this is the form that you're taking. And if you are in subtle state, and you kind of have to be in subtle state in order to be astral projecting. If you're in subtle state, then if you have inner sight, you could see your astral body or subtle body, and it could show up a lot of different ways, but it's your subtle body. Another subtle aspect of yourself is your thoughts. So I'm going to put a little thought bubble here. Also, your emotions are a subtle aspect of yourself. In causal state, and yes, this is causal as in cause and effect, causal. Now we're talking about layers of reality that are prior to manifestation. So in this case, where we're talking about a tree as an example, the causal aspect of a tree would be all the aspects that are necessary for a tree to come into existence. So that includes the ideal blueprint of what a tree is, like the idea of tree, or if you're familiar with Plato's forms, ideal forms are part of causal reality. This also includes the processes that divine energy go through in order to manifest in physical reality. So the energy that becomes a physical tree is included in the causal layers here. And another aspect of causal reality is the probability field. So the probability that there will be a tree here. As I said before, each of these states covers a lot. These are just examples. Each of these states is like a category of experiences that you can have. So in gross state, that covers all of the physical phenomena that you can experience, and it includes all of the physical realms. Like I don't know how you might delineate realms in physical reality, but you could consider like England to be a realm, and you could consider Brazil to be a different realm, or you could consider our planet to be one realm, and Mars to be a different realm. It's all relative. And the same thing happens in subtle state. So subtle state covers a lot of different phenomena, including like specific individual phenomena you can experience, like the soul of a tree or your own astral body. It can also include whole realms as well. There are subtle realms like the land of the Fae, whatever you want to call that, is a subtle realm. Causal state includes all of the causal phenomena that you can experience and causal realms. There are multiple causal realms, just like there are multiple subtle realms and multiple gross realms. The Akashic Records is an example. I've also accidentally ended up in a place that I call the temporal plane, that is literally time. the way it shows up to me anyway is it's like a physical dimension that you can walk around in. So the self in causal state is the aspect of yourself that exists across lifetimes. So we're now talking about something about you that exists beyond just this lifetime. So I'm going to represent that the way that I have seen it sometimes. This is a ball of glowing light. This is how I have appeared to myself when in causal state sometimes. But this is not how it always appears, and it's also not how it appears to everybody. Everyone has a different mind, and these all of these states get interpreted by different people's minds in different ways. So the next state is witnessing state. And in witnessing state, I'm just going to draw this because in my experience, the most common realm to experience in witnessing state is the void. This like black, timeless, infinite, silent, still space. And that is the layer of reality that is under all of the causal layers of reality. It is the emptiness that everything comes from. And as far as how you experience yourself in witnessing states, sometimes you experience yourself as the infinite void, like this boundless awareness. And sometimes you experience yourself as a point of awareness. No emotions, no thoughts, totally blank mind. That is witnessing state. In fact, you can experience witnessing state right now with a pretty simple exercise, if you like. Try asking yourself, I wonder what I'm going to think next. And then just listen. Go ahead, pause this video and try it. Ask yourself, I wonder what I'm going to think next. And then listen. Okay, so assuming you tried that, you might have noticed that after you asked yourself the question and then listened, there were like 1 or 2 seconds of total silence in your head. That's witnessing state. Witnessing state is mental silence. It is a cessation of monkey mind. And incidentally, that's a lot of what meditation is just spending time in witnessing state. The next state, also the last state on our trip here, is non-dual. Non-dual state is very difficult to describe. In fact, famously so, it is ineffable, but you can try. So I'm going to try. Non-dual state is all of these states and reality and yourself all at once, experienced as one thing. It's not a uniform, homogeneous experience like witnessing state is, or I should say like the void is. Witnessing state doesn't have to be homogeneous void. You can be in physical reality in witnessing state, in which case you're just being fully present with whatever's happening around you and not having any thoughts about it. In non-dual state, it's not uniform. You are still experiencing everything in physical reality and subtle reality and causal reality, and the emptiness that is your awareness, and you're experiencing it all as one thing, not two things. There's no longer you and the world. It's one thing. I'm going to represent this with a very well-known symbol. So the white in the yin-yang symbol represents form. So that's gross, subtle, and causal. And the black represents emptiness. So that would be the witnessing state. So non-dual is both of those together as one thing. So the difference between a state and a stage. A state is being in one of these temporarily. And we go through these in our daily life all the time. We just may or may not be aware of being in these states. But anytime you are up in your head thinking about what you're going to do with the rest of your day, you're in subtle state. Because you're not being present to physical reality, you're being present to your thoughts, and your thoughts are a subtle aspect of you. So, and anytime you are having emotions, you are in a subtle state. Also, at night, when you go to sleep and you dream, dreams are a subtle state as well. I have heard it said that when you are having dreamless sleep, that is causal state or witnessing state. Sometimes these two states are equated with each other in certain systems. I don't have a direct experience of that, so I don't feel like I can speak to that. But anytime you have like a brain fart moment where your mind just stops and you just and your mind is completely blank and you're having no thoughts, you're in witnessing state. You're just having this moment of accidental witnessing state. So yeah, we experience these states throughout our daily lives normally anyway. And you can also experience these states as peak experiences. So even if you're in gross state most of the time, you can have subtle state peak experiences, like experiencing something with your inner senses, like seeing someone's aura, or if you do energy healing, then that's a subtle state action, doing energy healing. So you might be in gross state most of the time, but then sometimes you are doing energy healing, and that would be an example of a peak experience. You can also have peak experiences of any of these stages at any time. You don't have to have these sequentially as states. Stages, on the other hand, a stage is like your home base. It's what's normal to you. Most people on the planet are in gross stage. When you're in gross stage, physical reality is what is real to you. That is the most real. And your physical body is what you consider to be the real you. So if you're in gross stage, you know that when you physically die, you're gone, and there is no more you left. So the only way that you can have any sense of immortality if you are in physical stage or gross stage is either to do some great work that lasts after your death, or to have children. That is a way of having immortality, or by being remembered by people. That is another way of having immortality if you are in gross stage, if you think of yourself as being only your physical self. If you are in subtle stage, then reality to you is the subtle stuff. So the spirit of the tree, for example, is what you think of as being the essence of the tree. And the physical tree is not as important. It's still there, but it's not as important. And your idea of yourself in subtle stage is no longer just your physical body. It's now, actually, I'm circling the astral body, which is, yeah, probably true, but I'm actually going to circle the thought cloud because a lot of times in subtle stage, what is the most real to you is your own individual consciousness. And you know that when you die, your consciousness is going to live on in some form. So in subtle stage, you might be more concerned with making sure that you go to a good place after you die, like heaven, or that you are able to still communicate with your loved ones who are still alive. So that would be like being a ghost. Or you might even have a concern with being able to affect the physical world after your death. You also might have a concern with prolonging this identity as long as possible after you physically die. There are practices in Western magic, for example, that you can do during your life to create what is sometimes called a rainbow body that you can inhabit after you die, after you physically die, and your rainbow body lives on. In all of these things that I just described, I'm talking about the you that is your personality in this lifetime. And that's what you're identifying with if you're in subtle stage. In causal stage, you become less concerned with this lifetime. So both of these are this lifetime. In causal stage, you are aware that you still exist across multiple lifetimes. And so that's going to be more what you're identifying with. And you're less concerned about dying because you know that you're going to keep reincarnating. So it's not a big deal if you die. And as far as reality is concerned, if you're in causal stage, you're probably very aware of the layers of reality underneath manifested reality, and they feel more real. So in causal stage, physical reality seems like it's an illusion or a simulation or a dream. It just doesn't seem that real compared to the causal layers underneath. In witnessing stage, what feels real is the void, or I'm not sure that everyone experiences it as a black nothingness. I think I've heard maybe some people experience it as a bright light emptiness, but either way, it is an emptiness. It is an infinite emptiness that everything else comes from. So in witnessing stage, this emptiness feels like the most real, most profound reality. And the self that you identify with is just pure awareness. Everything else is false. It is not your true self. Your true self is just pure awareness in the present moment. In non-dual stage, again, this is super hard to describe, but you identify as everything nothing. And reality is also everything nothing. It's the same thing. You and reality are the same thing. And I just want to reiterate that when you are in a stage, that is your normal. It's your everyday life. So a really good way to tell which stage you're in is, what is your normal? What is your everyday life? If your normal everyday life is in the physical world, then you're probably in gross stage. If your normal everyday life is lived from subtle experiences, then you're probably in subtle stage. And if you're in causal stage, then what will seem normal to you are the layers underneath manifested reality, and living in manifested reality is going to feel fake. And if you're in witnessing stage, then having a completely silent mind, no thoughts, no emotions, will be normal to you. That will be the state that you're in most of the time. And if you are in non-dual stage, then you don't really have a self anymore, and you experience everything around you as though it is you. Being in a stage that is not growth stage can feel like you're going crazy. It can feel um, like you don't know where you're going, because everything around you is about it, like most of the stuff that we're surrounded by is about how to navigate growth stage. Also, it can be isolating. Um, if you're in a stage that is different from the stage that the people around you are in, then it can be difficult to relate to each other, because you're literally experiencing a different reality. So, a primary reason why I am making this YouTube channel is to create a safe online space for people who are beyond growth stage to feel less alone, to feel less crazy. Um, and, maybe this can be a space where we can share notes with each other about our experiences, so that we can help each other navigate these um, other ways of existing. Um, so that's what I'm doing. I'm creating videos about the things that have helped me the most in navigating these aspects, these experiences of reality that are so different from what most people experience. So if that's you, if you happen to be in a stage beyond growth stage and you are looking for anybody who understands your experience, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you know someone who you think might benefit from this channel, then send them on over. And if you found this video helpful, then I'm very glad, and uh, like it and subscribe, share the video, um, and hang around. If you're interested in stuff, I'm going to be doing more of it. So I'll see you soon.